spectacular specialist shuttle. Let's get together for a huddle, but not too close, got to keep the bubble. Let's start learning, come on, let's hustle. We fit together like a puzzle. Library, music, art, PE. It's the super spectacular specialist shuttle.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's art lesson. Our theme is still home, so this week in art we are going to be talking about something that many people have in their home. Can you guess what it is? All of these blankets around me are called quilts. I have many quilts from all over the world and from different times in my life. Let's take a look at what makes quilts so special and what goes into their artistic designs. A quilt is a type of blanket made of 3 layers: a top piece of cloth, a layer of padding called batting, and a bottom piece of cloth for backing. The layers are sewn together with pieces of yarn, thread, or ribbon. There is often a design on the front of the quilt that is made by stitching together different pieces of fabric called quilt blocks. Quilt blocks are often squares. These designs often have geometric shapes. Some of these geometric shapes include squares and triangles. You will learn more about geometric shapes during Vocab with Van Gogh. Screech, are you out here? Where are you? Oh, there you are! Screech, are you taking a nap out here? I think you are. I really like that quilt that you're using. But Screech, it's time to go inside and start making some artwork. All right, let's go! This week, Screech is going to unbox his first treasure chest of materials. Looks like we have a needle, some thread, and some pieces of fabric. Screech, great job sewing that quilt together. I love the colors that you chose.
Welcome to Vocab with Van Gogh.
This week we are revisiting the word shape. We will be looking at geometric shapes. Here are some examples of geometric shapes: circles, triangles, rectangles, squares, parallelograms. Geometric shapes have perfect uniform measurements, and they don't often appear in nature. Quilt designs often incorporate geometric shapes. Let's see if Screech used any geometric shapes in his artwork. Great job, Screech. I see some triangles and a big square. Do you remember when the specialist made a quilt for their home? Screech, be careful around the specialist quilt.
Hi, everybody.
Screech, that's not really Mr. Allwarden. It's just a picture.
Hi, boys and girls.
Mrs. Strauss isn't really there. That's just part of the quilt.
Hey there, everyone.
Oh, Screech, that's not really Mr. Holt. It's just a picture of you, Screech.
Welcome to Salvador's Sillies.
Which shape do you use to catch somebody? A trapezoid. What did the triangle say to the circle? You're pointless. What do you call a gathering of quilters? A block party. Why are pine trees so bad at sewing? Because they always drop their needles.
Welcome to Frida's Fellow Artists.
Artists that make quilts are called quilters. During the 17th century, women were often quilters. They were expected to have made their first quilt by the age of 5. And by marriage, women should have completed at least 12 full quilts. Quilts are used for bedding, decoration, education, and artistic expression. Early quilts have very simple designs using geometric shapes. But over time, cloth became more abundant and quilters were able to create more intricate patterns. Quilting even became a communal activity. Many members of a community would gather together to sew quilts. These events were called quilting bees. Quilting bees began a very long time ago, but people still attend them today. There are so many kinds of quilt designs. Do you have any quilts in your home? This quilt behind me was made by my great-grandmother. She was my father's grandmother. She stitched this whole quilt by hand. This quilt is from when I was a baby. My family got this quilt when we were in Thailand. My mom got this quilt for me when we lived in China. And these last 2 quilts my mom got for my brothers while we lived in China. Let's check in with one of the other specialists to see a quilt that is special to him.
Hi everyone, I know Miss Anderson is doing a video and a lesson on quilts this week, so this is a quilt I have hanging in my house, and it's a quilt my sister Kathy made. And she made it when she was living in California, and it's all got birds, and these were birds that were native to where she was living in California. But some of these birds we have around here, like the common robin, let's see, kingfishers we have around here, the common loon, the crow, and there's probably others too. But I hope you just love this. Well, we have flickers around here too. I hope you love this quilt as much as I do. See you guys.
Welcome to Monet's Maker Station.
For this week's activity, you're going to create a quilt block design. You need to start with a square paper. The first step is to fold your paper in half. Fold the paper in half the other way too. When you open your paper, you should have 4 little squares. Use a pencil to draw your design. If you want your lines to be really straight, you should get a ruler too. First, I'm going to trace over my folded lines using my ruler and my pencil. The next step is to break up these squares into triangles. You can draw diagonal lines through the squares to create these triangles. You'll notice when I hold up my ruler, diagonal from one corner to the other, 2 triangles are created. You can draw these diagonal lines starting from any corner of the square. A diagonal line is a slanted line that looks kind of like a steep hill. Add diagonal lines to each square on your quilt block. You can add these diagonal lines however you want. Be creative with the placement. Now that I have my diagonal lines drawn, I can add color. I'm going to create a pattern with color. I'm going to use a pink and a green color. I'm marking my areas so that I know what colors will go where. If you have a Sharpie or a black marker, a bonus step is to trace over your pencil lines very carefully. The last step is to color in every triangle. Use your best coloring skills. How many triangles do you see in my design? I'm going to do one more example. Again, the first step is to fold your paper in half twice. When you open your paper, you should have 4 squares. In this example, I'm going to draw 2 diagonal lines in each square. What do these diagonal lines look like? A letter X. By adding more diagonal lines, I have created more shapes. Before I start coloring, I'm going to mark my triangles with a color. This will help me visualize my design. The next step is to fill the paper with color. Wouldn't it be nice if it were that easy to fill the paper with color? Take your time slowly coloring in each triangle. This week we learned that quilts are a special part of many people's homes. A quilt is a blanket that has an artistic design, and quilt designs often have geometric shapes. To reflect, think about these questions. What are 2 types of geometric shapes? Can you name more than 2? What is the event called where people gather to sew quilts? Do you have any quilts in your home that are special to your family? We hope you had fun. See you next week.